It has been a very exciting and unique last few days for me. I wanted to say weekend, but it carried from the week into the weekend. And of course, I'm talking about International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. That's why inside of monpauspopcorn.com's What's Poppin', you see that logo for the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York. I'm here today to discuss my experience of so many different things that I got to do well connected with the International Boxing Hall of Fame and Turning Stone Resort and Casino over the weekend. Now, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, and that live feed could come to you by going simply to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage, where you could play the live internet radio feed from Podbean. So a lot of ways to get connected with the show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and I appreciate everyone that has. Once the shows go live, they jump into our archives on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and you'll find us there. So make sure you're connecting with us on all of our beautiful and wonderful channels. I can't thank everyone enough for the opportunity to connect the way that we get to, and I say I can't thank everyone enough, all the wonderful people at all of these outlets that have approved our podcast and given us an avenue to do that. Of course, above all, I want to thank God as always, and thank my family and my friends for their incredible support of everything that I do. So many thanks and much appreciation to the beautiful and wonderful people that surround me, that I feel so grateful to have in my life. So many thanks to everyone that has been supportive, and a big thanks to everybody that wasn't supportive, because you all drove me to fight hard, and that has been supportive. And a big thanks to everybody that you helped me to go out there and chase my dreams. So for those of you that did support, thank you. For those of you that didn't support, thank you, because it took everybody, and it continues to take everybody, positive or negative, up, down, or in between. It takes it all. You're supposed to roll with the punches, right? And as we talk about boxing today, that's what it's all about, right? Rolling with the punches and having the belief in yourself that you're going to make it through that fight, make it through whatever's going on, whatever fight you have in your life. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share your morning with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It truly means the world to me, and like I said before, I can't thank you enough. So with that being said, we're going to get into a lot of different pieces of it. This is a show that's just open to conversation. If you went out to the hall, you could feel free to shoot me a message, or if you have some thoughts about things you wanted to know, or, the class, or whatever it may be, you could feel free to send it off. First and foremost, I do want to make a note here of the class, and I want to have the opportunity to give some background on this class that came in for the International Boxing Hall of Fame for 2023. So I do want to take some time to show some love to the people that have made it in to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And there's a bunch of different people that made it in. When I say a bunch of different people, different parts of boxing, right? So promoters as well as trainers and boxers alike. So the 2023 Hall of Fame inductees were honored in this order. So this is the honor that I'm going to, this is the order I'm going to bring them out to you. Brad Goodman, born in 1966 in Queens, New York. He has done so many different things. Now, he watched Muhammad Ali and Ernie Shavers back in 1977, the bout at Madison Square Garden. He was an apprentice under top-rank matchmakers Teddy Brenner and Bruce Trampler, and he has been in a almost 40-year career overall here. Built a reputation as one of the most knowledgeable and respected matchmakers in the sport. He is continuing to scout amateur and professional prospects for top rank and then expertly match them to maximize the exposure and experience. So growing up watching it, being enthralled by it, and now for almost 4 decades, being a matchmaker and setting up awesome opportunities for all of us fans. So I want to give a shout out to Brad Goodman. Another Brad was honored, and that being Brad Jacobs, born in 1958. He found Global Productions, and that Global Productions incorporated in 1987 and produced over 700 sports and special events. Was senior programming consultant for USA Network's Tuesday Night Fights, and he orchestrated the plan for boxers' return from the COVID-19 pandemic with the top rank bubble, as amongst a lot of other things. So he has been involved in negotiating rights fees, as well as venue location, advertising, sponsorship, and organization and communication strengths when it comes to the world of boxing. Big shout out to Brad Jacobs. The next one that we have on our list that was honored here that I do want to give a shout out to is Joe Goosen. Joe Goosen, and again, I am reading them off to you in the order that they came up to the stage for their induction this past Sunday, yesterday, June 10th. So, or June 11th, pardon me. So, Joe Goosen, born in 1953 in California's San Fernando Valley, one of 10 siblings in the Goosen family, trained boxers out of the family-run 10 Goose Gym in Van Nuys, California. When he came up and made his acceptance speech, he spent the majority of the time honoring his brother Dan, who is also in the hall, who has recently passed away and over the last few years, and we extend our love and our gratitude and our thanks for Dan Goosen, and pray that he's up in heaven enjoying life up there with God. And always with his loved ones, including Joe and all of his siblings and family. God bless you. Thank you for all that you've done. Now, Joe guided champion Michael second to none, brothers Gabriel and Rafael Ruel, as well as Frankie Rules, Frankie Lyles, Joel Casamayor, Shane Mosley, and Riddick Bowe. And in 2005 was in Diego Corrales' corner for his lightweight title fight of the year win over Jose Luis Castillo, and he's still an in-demand trainer. So a big shout out to Joe Goosen, and many thanks to Joe, and many thanks for him honoring his brother the way that he did when he went up to make his acceptance speech. The fourth person to come up and accept their ring and get inducted into the Hall of Fame, Seth Abraham. Seth Abraham, born in 1947, joined the upstart cable company HBO, and that was back in 1978. Known as one of the most powerful, influential, and innovative figures in boxing, built HBO into the powerhouse network of champions, and synonymous with top quality programming on World Championship Boxing, Boxing After Dark, and TVKO. Incorporated a storytelling element to broadcasts that separated HBO from other networks. Negotiated deals for Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roy Jones Jr., Oscar de la Hoya, and Mike Tyson to compete on HBO, and was Executive Vice President and COO of Madison Square Garden from 2000 to 2004. So think about that. Working with HBO and all the work that Seth Abraham did. And so to be there at HBO in such a high ranking of jobs and to be able to do what he did there, and then no big deal to move on and go over to Madison Square Garden to begin the 21st century and, be connected to what some say is the greatest venue in the history of all sports, Madison Square Garden. So, big ups to Seth Abraham for that, and a pleasure to have Seth out there, and just great to see it from, my point of view as well, to see somebody who's done so many incredible things in the world of boxing and in setting things up and just orchestrating what he has. Tim Ryan was honored next, born in 1939 in Winnipeg, Canada, and now he called boxing for NBC Sports from 1972 to 1977. In 1977, Tim Ryan moved over to CBS and was the blow-by-blow announcer, the lead blow-by-blow announcer, paired with color commentator and analyst Gil Clancy, who he continuously honored while he was on stage multiple times at the Banquet of Champions, as well as the induction. And with Gil Clancy, they had one of the most respected teams in broadcast history, synonymous with what's called, quote-unquote, the sweet science to a generation of fans. Considered one of the foremost commentators of his era, he called more than 300 championship fights. Tim Ryan, more than 300 championship fights that he was on the call for, including Ali vs. Frazier 1, Hearns vs. Leonard, Hagler vs. Leonard, and 10 Olympic Games, regarded for his ability to tell the fighter's story and concisely break down the in-ring action for viewers. Big shout out to Tim Ryan. The sixth person to come up on stage in this 2023 induction class for the International Boxing Hall of Fame was Laura Serrano. Now, she didn't come up on the stage, though. This was a unique acceptance speech, and so we have some thoughts that came in here. Greg said, what a great weekend to celebrate and honor the sport of boxing, but then this weekend we get the absolute circus and clown show that is Mayweather versus Gotti, and boxing takes one step forward, two steps back. Sad, according to Greg here. So, circus and clown show, he's calling Mayweather versus Gotti. So, as we continue this, and feel free to leave your comments and leave your thoughts and share them with us. I'm more than happy to hear what y'all have to say. Laura Serrano was not in attendance. She sent in a video because due to her religious beliefs, she couldn't come. Now, she was born in 1967 in Mexico City, Mexico, and she began boxing while studying law at Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Mexico, was instrumental in the reversal of a 1947 ban forbidding women's boxing in Mexico City. So think about that. Laura Serrano, not only a boxer, but was studying law at the Universidad, and then turns around and aids in reversing a 1947 ban. So to be a boxer and to study law, and then to bring them both together in being a part of the reversal of a 1947 ban forbidding women's boxing in Mexico City. It's just cool, her connection to both walks of life, and then her being a part of reversing that ban that forbid women's boxing in Mexico City, and why there would be a forbidding of any sport in Mexico City is beyond me, as long as it's a safe sport, right? Now, she was in a draw with Christy Martin in her 1994 debut, and you know how big that is with Christy Martin being all that she has been to boxing. Now, Laura Serrano defeated Deidre Gogarty for the vacant WIBF lightweight belts to become Mexico's first female champion. And not only that, she is the first female from Mexico to be in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So her induction here in 2023 marks the first female from Mexico to be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame as a boxer, obviously. So during an 18-year career, she scored wins over Layla McCarter, Tracy Bird, Cynthia Prouder, as well as Kelsey Jeffries, Chevelle Hallback, and Alicia Ashley, who was also inducted this year. She retired in 2012. Laura Serrano, a big congratulations to her. And for those of you just tuning in, I'm giving my experience of being at the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, and I thought that the only way to do this right was to tell you all the people that got inducted, to honor them first before I tell you, my thoughts and my feelings and everything there. Greg says, watch the tape, DT. A complete battle royale broke out in the ring and out of the ring. Sad, that's your boy Mayweather. Not my boy, not money, not my boy, but, I did enjoy the Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor fight, but I wouldn't call the man my boy. But yeah, I mean, it's sad to see things like that. Obviously, you don't like to see anybody fighting out of the ring. In the ring is fine, not out of the ring. Now, continuing, who was honored, Alicia Ashley. Now, you just heard me say Laura Serrano had a win over Alicia Ashley. Well, Alicia Ashley, born in 1967 in Kingston, Jamaica, and I think she's only one of two Jamaican-born inductees into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and I think she's the first female from Jamaica that's been inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So congratulations to Alicia Ashley for that. She won 3 Golden Glove tournaments and 2 USA Nationals before turning pro. She was 32 years old when she became a pro. 32. Now, she was originally supposed to be doing something else. She had trained to be a dancer and went through an injury, changed her entire trajectory, that injury and her future and her original dream, decides to go from dancing to boxing, which obviously those feet can help, and she turned her career into something really special. Captured world titles in 3 divisions, featherweight, bantamweight, as well as super bantamweight, and was the oldest woman to win a championship at 48 years old. She retired in 2018 at age 50. And she's now the head boxing trainer at UFC Fit in Shanghai, China. So, much love and appreciation for Alicia Ashley. She said her record of 24-12-1 with 4 knockouts may not tell the story. And if people look sheerly at the numbers, they may not understand exactly who she is. But then she went on to say, if you looked at her body of work, as well as her incredible story of changing her entire career into something else, from dancing into boxing, and something that she had not looked at doing before and then ended up doing. If you look at the entire body of work and her whole story, you can see what's special about it. And I definitely took away from Alicia's speech and getting to know her a little bit better through her words just how special this story and she truly is. Rafael Marquez was also honored as the 8th person to be there on the stage or via video, in the case of Laura Serrano. Born in 1975, also in Mexico, Mexico City, Mexico, won world championships in 2 weight divisions in bantamweight as well as super bantamweight. Marquez engaged in an epic 4-fight series with Israel Vasquez. You can go and watch those on YouTube. And each boxer won two bouts, and the second and third earning Fight of the Year honors. He retired in 2013 with a record of 41-9 with 37 knockouts in his 41 victories. Insane. Holds wins over Tim Austin, Mauricio Pastrana, as well as Silence Mabuza and Mark Too Sharp Johnson. Rafael Marquez, the 8th person to be honored in this amazing class of 2023. The 9th person to be honored was Carl Froch, and Carl Froch went over, born in 1977 in Nottinghamshire, United Kingdom, won the WBC, IBF, WBA versions of the Super Middleweight Championship 4 times. Holds wins over Jean Pascal, Jermaine Taylor, as well as Andre Durrell, Arthur Abraham, Glenn Johnson, Lucian Butte, as well as Michael Kessler and George Groves. He lost to Andre Ward in the finals of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic Super Middleweight Tournament in 2011, retired in 2014 with a professional record of 33-2, the same record of wins and losses that the 10th person I'll be talking about has, Timothy Bradley Jr., and 24 knockouts for Carl Froch, as when Froch has worked as an expert analyst and commentator for Sky Sports. Very fun to hear from him. I like his personality, and definitely enjoyed getting to meet him and talk with him for a few minutes, which I'll talk about as we go on here. So a shout out to Carl Froch, the 9th person to be honored, and the 10th person to be there on stage or via video, and he was on stage, Timothy Bradley Jr., born in 1983 in Palm Springs, California, won world titles in 2 weight divisions, the light welterweight, which he won numerous times, as well as numerous times winning the welterweight side of things. He retired with a professional record of 33-2-1, like I said, the same win-loss record as Carl Froch, and he had 13 knockouts, holds wins over Kendall Holt, Lamont Peterson, Joel Casamayor, Devin Alexander, as well as Ruslan Pravadnikovic, Pravadnikovic, and pardon me if I said that wrong, Pravadnikov, that's how you say it, so pardon me on that. I don't know why, speak for a living, usually good with names, today having an issue, but Pravadnikov, as well as Jesse Vargas, Brandon Rios, Juan Manuel Marquez, and Manny Pacquiao has a win over him. A lot of people know Manny Pacquiao from recent boxing, and he's been a commentator on ESPN's boxing telecast. So big shout out to Timothy Bradley Jr. That's everybody that was there in some way, shape, or form, and those that were honored that have passed on. Tiger Jack Fox was honored 1907 to 1954, born in Indianapolis, Indiana, on April 2nd, 1907, and had wins over Maxie Rosenblum as well as Lou Scoza, Bob Olin, Lou Broyard, as well as Al Gaynor and Jersey Joe Walcott. Led to a 1939 NYSAC light heavyweight title bout against Melio Bettina. Fox was stopped in 9 rounds of the only title bout of his career. Retired in 1950 with a 160-23-10 record, 109 knockouts. Died at age 47 after suffering a heart attack on April 6, 1954 in Spokane, Washington. And may Tiger Jack Fox rest in beautiful peace in God's arms. Joanne Hagan was also honored, who was passed away 1930 to 2004, born in Akron, Ohio. An altercation with a coworker who harassed her led her to a boxing gym. And Hagan boxed out of South Bend, Indiana, competed in matches throughout the Midwest. In 1954, Hagan made history as the only boxer to defeat Barbara Buttrick that was in 8 rounds in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and the first women's bout to be broadcast over the radio ever. So Joanne Hagan being connected to the first ever women's broadcast to be broadcast over the radio, made major media appearances including What's My Line and The Steve Allen Show, and retired back in 1956. And the other person that we have to honor here who has passed on was Pon King Pek, and he was honored by Thailand in a very cool video. 1936 to 1982, Pon King Pek, born in Hua Hin, Thailand, and the flightweight turned pro in 1954, made history as Thailand's first world champion and the first man to win the flyweight championship 3 times. So once again, made history as Thailand's first world champion and the first man to win the flyweight championship 3 times. He holds the wins over Pascal Perez, fighting Haranda, as well as Hiroyuki Ebenhara. Announced his retirement in 1966 with a record of 28-70 at 9 knockouts. Died in Bangkok on March 31st, 1982 at age 47 after a severe bout of pneumonia. Beloved in Thailand, there is a statue of King Pek, and that statue is on display in his own park in Hua Hin, where he was born. So, really cool to see that and to see the video honoring him. So that is your class of 13 honorees inducted in 2023 into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York. And for you to see exactly what that class looks like here, these are all the people that were on site or via video for this event. So you can see a really nice picture here of Rafael Marquez, Timothy Bradley Jr., Carl Froch, as well as Alicia Ashley, Laura Serrano, Joe Goosen, Brad Goodman, Brad Jacobs, Tim Ryan, and Seth Abraham. And then the posthumous inductees that have passed on: Tiger Jack Fox, Pon King Pek, as well as Joanne Hagan. So really cool picture here, and people could get autographs on this as well as have them sign the back. So a really nice thing that the International Boxing Hall of Fame did for all of us, including those of us that were covering the event. So much respect and much appreciation for that. So that's a way to get to know the boxers. Now it's time for me to speak on my experience of being there, and I'll do that right after this break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So very much looking forward to tell you my experience from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Happy to be here with you where sports meets life, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and 24/7 on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. I want to thank the International Boxing Hall of Fame for their aid in getting to know all of these boxers that were inducted to the 2023 class that went into the hall in Canastota, New York, the International Boxing Hall of Fame. I want to thank them for all the information that they provided on all these boxers to make it easy to tell their stories. So big shout out. Obviously I ran through and told you of all and boxers as well as trainers, as well as people that worked in the matchmaking piece of it and continue to work in the matchmaking piece of it, and those that have worked with the broadcast and whatnot. So to all the honorees in the boxing world, a better way to say it, everybody in the boxing world, I want to thank them, and I want to thank the International Boxing Hall of Fame for the biographies and all the research and information that they put together to help it to be concise and easy to spread the message of who each of these inductees are and continue to be. So many thanks to the Hall, Ed Brophy and the team for all, and Jeff and everybody that worked on all the biographies and the information that was given to us to share their stories. I appreciate that very, very much. So with that being said, taking a look at Friday, which is my first experience of the event. Now, Friday night, they had the Friday night fights, and Showtime was there for Showtime Boxing. And with them being there on site, it was really cool to be able to experience something like this, and to have this event that was so unique and so cool. So my first experience of anything like, like this was at Turning Stone Resort and Casino. I had never experienced anything like the Showtime boxing night, and it was a new chapter in my world of broadcasting. Had never been that close to a ring, had never seen the opportunity to watch a fight like that. And as soon as I walked through the door, Christy Salters Martin, who you know for being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora bi-monthly every other Tuesday, so next Tuesday, every other Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time with Christy's Corner. And we speak on her boxing career, what she's up to now, domestic violence and domestic abuse, positivity, faith. We play rapid fire with her and Pat Orr, who's a boxing photographer and also the owner of PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. So if you're a big-time boxing fan, and obviously we're all fans of food, you could go out and see Pat Orr at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York, and hang out with her and try some amazing food and get to hear some incredible stories. So as soon as I walked in to the Turning Stone Resort and Casino, which, by the way, every time I go up to Turning Stone, and I have to say this because I mean it, every time I go up to Turning Stone, I am absolutely moved by how cool it is. Just the venue is awesome. And I love going up to Turning Stone, and I love getting to, just experience different things up at Turning Stone. So I do want to give Turning Stone Resort and Casino a big time shout out, because every time I go up there, I feel like, I'm doing something fun. It's like a little vacation. It's not that far away from where I grew up, but to me, it's like going on a vacation to get away. Every time I get off the exit and I see it and I see the tower, I just find that to be really incredible and a lot of fun. It makes me feel like I'm out visiting somewhere, far away from home, and at the same time knowing that it's not that far away from home. So Turning Stone is, it just, I don't know, when I go there, it feels different. It's exciting. I like to dress up, and my family and I, always had nice events and birthday parties and different things that we did over at Turning Stone. So I want to give them a shout out first and foremost. Secondly, when I went there on Friday night, and to never have been at fights like this or experience a night like that, you walk into this room and it's dark, right? And it's exciting, and they've turned this room into a boxing venue for the night. And it's amazing what they do with this event center at Turning Stone Resort and Casino, because it's where they have the Jim and Julie Boeheim Foundation, where they have that, dinner every year, and, do a ton of things throughout the year, I'm sure. And to see it transition from fight night to the Banquet of Champions the next night was really, really cool to experience that place, that venue, that event center in two different ways back-to-back nights. It's a testament to the work of the entire staff at Turning Stone Resort and Casino. So a big time shout out to all of you. And to go in there and see this fight, and to be, right, I mean, I had Roberto Duran sitting almost right behind me. He's just like right over my right shoulder. And so to have some of the fighters that are just sitting there, Ray Mercer might have been there actually, but to see those fighters just sitting there, and, Christy and Lisa Holowine, her wife and former boxer as well, they're sitting right there ringside. You got Pat Orr, who I mentioned, really good friend of mine, owner of PB&J's Lunchbox, and she's out there taking, photos, because she's also a boxing photographer, as I had mentioned. So you come into the room, and as soon as I came in, there's Christy. I saw her. She got up. We started talking, and she's there with Champ, their little dog, their little Pomeranian. And, if you told me at any point in my life that I was going to go to a boxing match, because I didn't grow up around boxing. Rocky was on, as I was a kid, the Rocky movies were coming out. And as I tell people all the time, what I knew about boxing really hung on Mike Tyson. That's what I knew about boxing was Mike Tyson. So, watching him, hearing about him, because he was a lightning rod. Certain people in sports become a lightning rod, and Mike Tyson was one of those lightning rods. So even if you didn't know boxing, you knew Mike Tyson. And if you told me at any point in my life I was going to be credentialed. And not only to go to the event, but to be able to walk around the event, have my name on press row, sitting right behind, just a few feet behind the ring, to have a great view of it, and to be at this really intimate, awesome event, credentialed for my company that I built, and to be able to sit there, and that Christy Martin and I are going to be friends, and we're going to hang out, we're going to talk, and Lisa and I are going to hang out and going to talk and continue to build our relationship, and that Pat Orsi. I mean, if you told me that a bunch of my friends were going to be in there and I was going to be, so close, friends with a champion and somebody who pioneered women's boxing as Christy Salters Martin has, I mean, I never thought. And at 37 years old, anybody that knows me will tell you that I'm a big kid, and what I mean by that is there's an innocence that I try to preserve. There's the excitement of experiencing something for the first time, and at the same time an appreciation for everything that I'm honored to do and all the doors that open. And so, I'm very grateful to Christy Martin, and I'm grateful to Pat, and I'm grateful to Lisa, and I'm grateful to Turning Stone Resort and Casino for taking little old me and putting me, on media press row and letting me see the Friday night fights, and respecting, my, just making me feel like a VIP when I came in. It really means a lot to me. And like I said, to walk in there and to, people that know Christy Martin and are seeing her walk around the ring, to be standing there next to her, talking with her, with all these people around it. And, that to me was just, the whole time I was talking to her, I was thinking to myself, like, you're not sitting in the stands watching somebody talk to Christy saying, who's that person? You are that person that's talking with Christy. And I'm very thankful to Pat for helping Christy and I and Lisa cross paths a couple years ago. I'm so grateful that Christy has entrusted me to tell her story, and I'm honored that Champ likes me, because the dog, is rambunctious, and we're all sitting after the fights and we're having I was having water, but some people are having some drinks and having some dinner, and we're sitting there having a good time, and I held Champ, and Champ was like totally relaxed, and I was just rubbing his paws, and he was sitting so good. And Lisa kind of tapped Christy and was like, hey, look at Champ right now. So, and they said, what are you, the dog whisperer? And I was like, well, I'm a dog person, and dogs know that. So, I very much, everything about that first night, to experience Turning Stone, and thank you to Turning Stone. Thank you to Kelly Abdo, terrific. Thank you to, the credentialing process, which was really easy, and they were super nice when I came in, as well as everybody that helped me, get set up and find my seat for the media. And I mean, it was such an amazing event, because I had never done anything like that before. And to have that feather in my cap now, I look forward to doing more. I look forward to going out to Turning Stone more. I look forward to hopefully doing more with fights. And you never know what the future holds. So to the big kid in me, I want to say thank you to the wonderful, wonderful experience I had at Friday Night Fights. And to go into Friday Night Fights, and I'm getting ready, I'm sitting down, and they're like, the next fight that's coming up, they say this kid hails from Liverpool, New York, Bryce Mills. And I remember looking at the name going, that can't be the same Bryce that I know. And because I didn't know that, I was paying attention to Christie's fighter, Keeman Evans, was fighting. So I was paying attention to that. And that was my area of focus. And that was the first fight that was going to be on Showtime Boxing for the night. So I was so focused on that going into it that I didn't even look. And I see Bryce Mills. He pops up, and I have the opportunity to cover his fight. Got some great shots of his fight, and really got to have an awesome time, an awesome experience. I think I could bring up here some of my pictures to share with you. So we could do that right now as I discuss this. I have no problem doing that. So we could take a look at some of these pictures. and transition here to the next place. And I'm more than happy, like I said, to do that with you. So this is a picture of the inductees that I talked about a little bit earlier. Everybody that was on site showing their rings. That's a picture of Bryce Mills in his fight. I thought he did a good job. I really liked it. I thought he had it all the way through. That's a picture of Buddy. Obviously, Buddy was there with Arturo Gatti in history. There's Christy in the ring hugging Jimmy Lennon Jr. Great to see her back in the ring. There's Flavor Flav. So he is there. There is a master ceremonies. There's my picture with Jimmy Lennon Jr. after the induction ceremony. And then you have Buddy and Mickey Ward there. Two sides of a great trifecta of boxing that happened in history with Arturo and Mickey. And there's Christy in the ring. Love seeing Christy in the ring again. There was a fight. They said, what would you do if we got to see them go up against each other? And they actually did a face-off, which I got to tell you was terrifying. If you, Roberto, not if you're Roberto Duran, if you know, I mean, Timothy Bradley Jr., I'm sure he had a good stare, but he even laughed at how serious Duran looked. And here's some pictures of myself with John Iceman Scully as we had a conversation. And there is Timothy Bradley Jr. signing some autographs, which so many people are gracious to do. Vinny Paz had an interesting speech at the Banquet of Champions. So we're actually going to go into Vinny Paz's speech, which happened on Saturday. And I don't know if I'm going to play it to the swear parts, but there are moments where he is very open about how he feels.
This is really cool. I'm happy to be here. I'm surprised and honored that so many people came here. This is a great event, great turnout, and I don't know.
Vinny, 2024.
I should be in the hall. Yeah. Oh, you know, everybody. I think I should be. There are some guys in there, and I love fighters, you know, and I respect fighters. You know, there are some guys, and it's not the fault of anybody, but there are like some guys that are in the Hall of Fame that literally did half of what I've done. Like half. I won 50 fights. Out of 60, and I fought all world champions. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and I'm proud of that. You know, I stopped 50 guys, 30 by KO. That's cool. I mean, me and Mike Tyson are the only two people who drew the most, who had a sellout crowd in Atlantic City. I fought on TV. Whenever I fought on TV, it was almost the #1 rating. A bunch of times I got the #1 rating when I fought on TV. You know, I brought people to boxing. I made people watch boxing. And you know, never mind a broken neck and coming back and winning world titles. You know, I don't even think of that when I think of, you know, I should be in the Hall of Fame. And Ed Brophy, who runs this, Ed, you're a good guy, but I'm gonna fucking kill you sooner or later. Sooner or later time. And then everybody's gonna say, oh, the fucking boss is crazy. Like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm gonna be in the Hall of Fame. I think I deserve it. And they say, oh, Ed can't put you in, Vinny. It's not Ed's thing. Wait a minute.
So I'm going to stop it there. You did hear one swear, and this is a family show. That's why I warned prior to that there is swearing in that. It is on our social media. He did drop an F-bomb there. He drops more as we continue on. So Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, you can see the entire video of that, because he does go on to be very, very, very clear, Vinny Paz, that he wants into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and some open words toward Ed Brophy, the president of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So very interesting, Vinny Paz. But I mean, he said he should be in the Hall. 50 wins, 50 out of 60, like he talked about what he did with boxing, coming back from the broken neck when they told him he couldn't box again, and he came back and boxed again. So, I mean, yeah, I think there's an argument for him for sure, and there's obviously politics that go into voting, unfortunately. And, I mean, I would love to vote in some of this stuff. I would love to vote in oh my gosh, I can't speak today. Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame. There it is. I don't know what it is. I've had some stuff going on, vocal cords and whatnot. I'm not going to blame it on that, but I've had to, be cognizant of how I speak and how I use my voice and all that. So, Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame. I'd love to vote there. I'd love to vote in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, too, because I would actually... I'm not saying that people don't. I'm saying I would do my due diligence, do my research, and be impartial. Because you have to be impartial, right? Who in the heck votes against some of these people to get into the Hall of Fame, including, I mean, when you look on the baseball side of it, who voted against Nolan Ryan? Who voted against Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth? I mean, what type of personal vendetta, or did you just want to be the person that could say, I voted against him? Like, I'm the person in history where the ballot was, 58-2, and I was one of those two people. Just like I'm one of the, it's like the same thing when YouTube videos have 1.3 million likes and 300 people say I don't like it. Did you really not like it, or are you just, trying to become that person where you're just begging to be heard? So, yeah, I mean, I would love to vote for the Hall. Ed Brophy, Jeff, the crew out there, Tito, sign me up. I would love the opportunity to vote. But Vinny Paz definitely telling you exactly how he felt about it. So, I talked about Friday night and the Friday night fights and being there with Showtime and seeing Showtime's logo and being so close to the ring and being there with Christy and Lisa and Pat and, having Roberto Duran right over my shoulder and just a couple steps away. That entire experience at Turning Stone, to see the fights. I mean, to me, that's awesome. Like Madison Square Garden, of course, yes. Here locally in upstate New York, I think Turning Stone is a great place to go out and see fights. And I think that they did a great job with the venue. I thought it was awesome. And of course, when you get to hear from Jimmy Lennon Jr., there's something about growing up, and like I said, of the little boxing that I saw, because I didn't see a ton of boxing growing up. I didn't really, my dad wasn't a fan, my mom not, so we didn't really watch it. But when that mic comes down from the ceiling, right? It almost like God hands a microphone, and that microphone comes down from the heavens, and you hear that voice, Jimmy Lennon Jr. That was cool, and great to get to meet him, and great to see him in the ring to announce these fights, which was a lot of fun. So I loved all of it. I mean, I loved everything about Friday night because I've never experienced anything like that, and there's all these firsts that I've had in my life, and because of my desire and my passion and my striving for things, and God being so grateful or so gracious with his blessings and giving me so many wonderful opportunities to do different things, I get to experience new things. It's not like, oh, well, I experienced them when I was 15 or 20. No, I'm 37 years old, and the experience I had at Turning Stone, of a fight in general, of Showtime, it was a first for me, and I can't wait to see what tomorrow brings and what today brings. So I want to thank Turning Stone again because first impressions mean a lot, and my first impression was so great about not my first time being at Turning Stone, but my first time being at a Turning Stone fight, and I loved it. So thank you for that, and thank you to Christy Salters Martin for her promotion company, and Keemon Evans, getting to meet him and talk with him after the fact, him and his family, as well as to get to sit down with Pete White and break bread with him and share some dessert with Pete White. He was really awesome there. He got one of these like giant milkshakes, and it came with brownies, and he's like, hey, you can have one. So I took one, and then right before the end of the night there was 2 left, and he took one and just put his hand out to me and took one for himself. And it means a lot to me. It might be a little thing to some people, but breaking bread is important to me, and it was nice to break bread with Christy and Lisa and Pat and everybody that was there, as well as with Pete and Keemon and so on and so forth. So thank you to everyone. That was my first night was perfect. I came home with a big smile on my face. I had a great time at Turning Stone. And then Saturday was the Banquet of Champions, which you just saw the speech, part of the speech, and you could see more of that. Now, I didn't record the entire speech for Vinny Paz. I recorded it perfect timing, I would say, because it was when he was talking about how he believes he should be in the hall, and some people shouted out he should be in the hall. And Vinny Paz, you got to see that. You could see the entire video once again by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. You could also go to Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT to get it as well. So don't miss out on it, because it's definitely a unique video. At the Banquet of Champions, we heard from the Master of Ceremonies, and yes, it's Flavor Flav.
Good evening, y'all. Hey, yo, check this out. One time for you, boy. One time, I want everybody in here to scream this real loud. Let me hear everybody say, Flavor Flav! When I say yeah, you say boy, yeah! Boy, yeah! Boy. When I say flavor, you say flavor, flavor. Wow. Hey, yo, check this out. Before I get started, we got a surprise guest in the house. Oh, everybody, clap your hands, make some noise for my man, Mike Tyson! Oh, wait, let me see. Oh, that's a woman. I'm sorry, baby. You look like Mike Tyson. I'm so sorry.
So that was it's interesting. I wanted Mike Tyson to be there, and of course he made that joke, making everybody, did a little major look, making you think that Mike Tyson was there, and he was not. And Flavor Flav, I have the entire speech that he gave, and you can watch all of that on YouTube, Doc. That was the intro of it. You can watch it on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT is where we have the YouTube video saved there, and you can go to Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT and watch the Flavor Flav video. So, and I got to be careful, like I said, with all the vocal stuff going on, I got to be careful with my voice, so I can't shout it like I want to, but you know what I'm saying. So with that being said, very interesting Banquet of Champions night, Saturday night. I got to shout out my guy, Tito. Tito was awesome, instrumental in me having a really special night. Again, this entire weekend was just filled with really good people, with really good hearts, and a lot of kindness and generosity. So I got to give a very, very huge thank you to Tito for being awesome. And the Banquet of Champions, I had a front row seat. The head table stretched so far, just a long table of all these amazing boxing, people connected to boxing, and those who were getting inducted, as well as other people that have become a part of this beautiful, beautiful ceremony and Banquet of Champions and all of this. So, some have been inducted, some haven't been inducted yet, some aren't. So just a huge, huge table of greatness, and I was literally dead center. I mean, I was right there. So I gotta thank my man Tito for everything that he did to give me an experience unlike any other that I appreciated so very much, Tito. So thank you for that. I know I thanked him 1,000 times, but make it 1,001, 2, 3, whatever it is today. Many thanks. The Banquet of Champions, really fun because it was impromptu and they would just call people up to speak, and we got to see clips of different fights and different things that have gone on. That was a lot of fun to see the mixture of it all, and the event going on for many hours. And it was, like I said, in the same event center that the fights were in on Showtime the night before. So I got to experience the room in two totally different ways, and it was really, really cool to see how they changed over the venue. Again, I gotta thank the staff at Turning Stone because they did an incredible job. I mean, the room for the Banquet of Champions looked like a completely different room than the boxing event with the ring. I mean, they made that look like a transformer. So that was really fun to see that here. Michael said, talked to Flavor during the parade, and he said he was having a good time, and he was taking in the residents responding to him as we made our way down Main Street. Yeah, Flav definitely enjoys people showing him some love, and so I'm sure people had fun with Flavor Flav out there. And I mean, it was great to see. I got to meet him. I got to shake hands with him and take a picture with him, which I posted on all of our social media as well, which is really cool because when I was growing up, I watched Flavor of Love, and watching Flavor of Love, very interesting show, very, very interesting show, and watching Flavor of Love was a unique experience, and that's how I got to know Flavor Flav. I didn't know him for his music, I knew him for the show, and watching that on VH1, and then then having my mom call me up one day. My mom, always wanted to be a flight attendant, and at 47 years old, she got to be a flight attendant. And so my mom's on a plane, and she goes, "Who is this guy with a clock around his neck?" She said, "Who is this character? Like, the guy's like unique. Like, who is this?" And I said, "Oh, it's Flavor Flav," and he was on one of the flights. And then you fast forward to now, my mom didn't know if I knew that Flavor Flav was coming out to do the event, and she called me because my mom flew out somewhere over the weekend, and my mom said to me, she's like, "Hey, just so you know, Flavor Flav's coming into town. He's going to be out where you are." And so it's funny how I grew up watching him, then my mom saw him on a plane, and then my mom, saw him in the airport and said, "Hey, he's coming out your way." And then to get to meet Flavor Flav after all these years was kind of surreal and exciting and fun. So shout out to Flav, and thank you for your time and for the extensive shaking of my hand. So, it was definitely cool to meet him at the Banquet of Champions. But to hear, so many stories was really fun, and different personalities. And like so many of the men and women on the dais said, they were not prepared to speak that night. So they were speaking in the moment, speaking from the heart, and just describing their connection to it. I thought it was fun. By the way, that might have been the best steak I've ever had in my existence of 37 plus years. I got in later to the banquet, so I had to wait to eat my food. And I got in later because I was doing an interview with Scully, which you'll see part of it today, and you can see all of it on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT and on all of our social media outlets. But Scully and I were having a conversation, so I was talking with Tito, and I said, hey, I'm going to come up to the event because he was up there running the silent auction and all that. I said, I'm going to be up there in a bit, but, I promised Scully I'd say hello. And then Scully and I ended up talking for a while. So I get upstairs, and my dish is waiting there for me. And I got to tell you something. That steak, when I tell you it was a round cut, right? I bit into that steak. It was like biting into a soft cookie. It was easy to chew. There was no fat. Like literally, you eat the whole steak. I don't know, something that I've had that tender, that juicy, that good, and it wasn't rare. It was just tender and it was good, and just pull apart and eat the whole thing. It wasn't like the end of it was fat, or there's fat here, there's fat in the middle. No fat on it. Just a juicy, awesome, thick cut of steak. Fantastic. Again, shout out to Turning Stone because that food was awesome, and I loved it. So the Banquet of Champions was a lot of fun. Meeting Flavor Flav was really cool too. I got to see my cousin. What up, Jeff? So I didn't know he was going to be there, and well, actually, I saw him earlier that day, and then I saw him again. So it was cool to see him on Saturday. And speaking of earlier that day, I went to the Collector's Show. And walked around there, and a bunch of the fighters were walking around, and then there's fighters signing autographs. What I really thought was cool about the event and the whole weekend was that I'm sitting here now. I've done a bunch of conventions, and I know that a lot of people charge, and in the sports world, in the entertainment world, and some of the prices are outrageous. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at, people like Timothy Bradley Jr. up there signing, and I'm looking for a handler, and I'm looking for a box of money, and I'm looking for him waiting for somebody to sign something or to pay for something before they sign. And you know what I saw? There was none of that. These boxers were signing everything for free. Now, their autographs are worth something. My cousin Jeff brought, and people in general that were there, the Master of Ceremonies, having Flavor Flav there, and Flav has pop figures, and so Jeff had pop figures, and they're signing the pop figure and all that. This stuff is worth money. I mean, Jeff could probably take that Flavor Flav signed pop figure, put it in a case, and sell it for at least $100. So for everybody to just be signing, and the thing is, like, they're at the Collector's Show signing. They're signing as they walk. When they were at the pavilion at the actual International Boxing Hall of Fame, they were signing at the Banquet of Champions, and I was talking about it with the staff, and they're like, yeah, they're not supposed to charge for autographs. Like, people are literally just supposed to sign out of the goodness of their hearts. And what did Michael say? The Village fans never disappoint, setting up their chairs, getting ready for the parade. They love this one weekend every year. Well, yeah, because it puts Canastota on the map. I mean, think about it. How many people would know anything about Canastota if not for the International Boxing Hall of Fame? Now, I'm not trying to knock Canastota. I'm just saying, how many people would know about Canastota, New York, all over the world? I mean, you had inductees this year from the United Kingdom, Mexico, Jamaica. And they heard about Canastota. So, when you have events like this, it is really, really, really special. And to be at this event and to see that, like, so many people were so gracious with signing and so kind with signing and not charging a penny. I mean, like I said, I go to these conventions. If you knew what people charge for their autographs, you'd pass out. There's certain people that their autograph is $200 at least. Some of them don't even look at you. They sign and you move on. And some of them talk to you. I mean, I got to shout out Oscar Isaac, who's Moon Knight and Apocalypse and Poe Dameron in Star Wars. Oscar Isaac and I actually got to talk and have a conversation, and he remembered my name and called me by my name, and I thought that was really nice. And so, there's great people that you meet at these things, but I'm so used to people charging that it was so nice to see that they don't, and I really hope that they never do, because that would be horrible to me. if you took that away from fans, because first and foremost, we know it's an arm and a leg to go on the thruway now, because if you don't have an easy pass, they always charge you more than what they're supposed to. I think there's been like a digital glitch, and I've been overcharged for being on the thruway at least twice. I'm praying to God that it won't happen again. Please, may it not happen again, because I don't understand it. But I feel like, I constantly get overcharged when I'm on the thruway. And so, people are using their gas and their time and their energy. A bunch of people are flying in. They're getting hotels. So they're paying a bunch of money to see these people. And so to know that they can get those autographs for free is really nice, because in other situations, you are like New York Comic Con. You're paying to travel. You're paying for an Uber or a taxi or a rental car. You're paying for gas if it's your car. You're paying to park. You're paying for your hotel. You're paying to get into the event. You're paying for food. And you're paying for the autographs. So to have the International Boxing Hall of Fame provide these autographs free of charge, really, really nice. And to the boxers that aren't getting inducted, and to the people of the boxing world that aren't getting inducted, that come out to this event and they're just walking around the grounds and they don't charge, thank you to those of you that don't charge, because it's really sweet and very nice, and I appreciate it. So this is what we got some more messages coming in. The Village comes, let me see here. The Village comes alive one weekend every summer for induction weekend. Yes, that's very true. Michael said, every year I volunteer. It impresses me with the people that come out from around the world for this one weekend. I enjoy volunteering. That's why I do it every year. And you know what? Those volunteers got thanked a bunch, Michael, and I want to do this too, because volunteers don't get the love that they deserve. And, when you volunteer for things and you do it, literally, when you're volunteering, you're not getting paid. You're spending long hours. Sometimes you're spending more hours or doing more than you feel like some people that are getting paid. And you do it out of the goodness of your heart to be a part of something special. So I want to clap it up and thank you, Michael, and all the volunteers out there for the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. Tito said, that is what's so great about the weekend and the sport. The boxers and fans become one. Some ask for autograph, hug, handshake, great conversations, truly amazing. Yeah, and that's what I love to see, because that's what I was told. And I had never experienced the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend as deeply as I did this time. I was there for Stallone and Tyson when they got inducted, and I was taking, I came out with my camera and I was taking shots of the event, but I had never experienced it the way that I experienced it this time around. And it was really special, and it was really exciting. And we spoke about the collector's show. You're going to hear from Ron Borges in our conversation after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we continue to speak on my experience of the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, Turning Stone Resort and Casino, the actual International Boxing Hall of Fame grounds, and everything in between. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level, is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Here inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', covering my time at the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. And the next up here is at the Collector's Show. I had the opportunity to catch up with Ron Borges. He's been on the broadcast before. Inside of Christie's Corner, our bi-monthly segment, every other Tuesday, which will be back up this coming Tuesday, so not tomorrow, but next Tuesday. So we'll be with you there on Tuesday, June 20th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Bi-monthly segment, Christie's Corner, with Christy Salters-Martin, International Boxing Hall of Famer and current promoter, and doing so many things with Christie's Champs with domestic violence and domestic abuse. Wonderful, wonderful. And her story, Fighting for Survival, that book was written with Ron Borges, and I had the opportunity to speak with Ron at the Collector's Show. We're with Ron Borges here at the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. Ron, how are you?
Great, you?
Doing very well, and had you on the show, Christy Martin, just a few weeks back and whatnot, and just what it's like for you to come back here and like we were talking about off the air, to see some faces you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, it's great fun, to see, a lot of the fighters and the trainers and, guys that I've known for a long time, written a lot about. You're seeing each other in a different sort of venue. Everybody's sort of half a civilian, So and it's funny to see, enjoyable to see older guys, fighters that maybe I saw a lot 20 years ago. But have some Riddick Bowe, I got on the elevator first night I was here, and Bo was standing behind me, and I turned around and he looks at me and he goes, "Where you been?" Where have I been? Where are you?
Do you have some stories besides that of guys that maybe you haven't seen in a while?
Yeah, I was happy to see Zab Judah. The last time I seen Zab was his last fight where he got hurt and could have been bad. It looked kind of didn't look good, that night. But now he's great. He's living in California. It was great to see him. He looks great. He's happy. He's happy to be retired and hoping to get in the Hall of Fame. So a lot of those guys, Tim Ryan, the old broadcaster, who I saw a lot, of course, being inducted this year, who was really kind of the voice of boxing in the 80s with Bill Clancy, and he was like totally shocked that he got in the Hall of Fame. One day he said, I didn't know anybody remembered me. And I said, well, yeah, they do. So, yeah, there's a lot of that, and it's just, and you see the other thing about it is just the fans. You can forget sometimes because of downsides of boxing and politics. How much, a certain percentage of the people still love the sport. You can forget that until you come here.
To be a journalist and to cross paths with these boxers, is there ever some stories of them kind of, because in covering them, you build that trust and you build those relationships, and at the same time, you have to tell the stories of some of their losses too.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's funny. Most of these guys, when they retire and look back, they tend to remember, fortunately for me, the good stories, pictures, tend to forget the bad ones for the most part. And that's part of what's fun. We reminisce about those moments and those fights, wins and losses, and maybe some difficulties that they had, and their perspective now, as opposed to being in the moment. It's pretty interesting. And I remember I was also pretty tough on Roy Jones. As it turns out, we both got inducted last year. And he did the nicest thing. My son was 15 at the time, and so I took him over to introduce him to Roy. And Roy turned to him and said, "Is this your dad?" I said, "Yeah." he fought his way in here just like everybody else. Just you see my son's just off the house, you know. So that it's all good to come there and just remember how great these fighters were and all they gave for the sport. Obviously, the sad thing is you see some damaged fighters, you know, that the game took a lot from them, and that's a reminder to everybody. It's in baseball, it's not basketball. You know, these guys are risking all they have every time they fight. So I always caution friends of mine, you know, be booing some guy who's maybe not having a good night or who's not that great a fighter. Everybody who goes up there is a pretty brave man or woman, and you should remember that.
You know, and for you, like you said, being an inductee, when you look.
And so, you know, we'll continue to, I mean, like I said, you can go and watch this conversation with Ron Borges, and you definitely don't want to miss the end where we talk about the book with Christy Salters-Martin, Fighting for Survival. These are all available. This conversation is available to you on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. You can go and see it on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. And the conversation specifically about the book that he wrote with Christy is available as its own piece. So you could go back and see that on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT. So what Ron said was, you know, you see some of these men and women where you know, boxing took so much from them, and to caution people that are out there, and if somebody's not having a good fight night, you know, when they're out there booing them and this and that, whatever, that, you know, it takes incredible strength and belief and, you know, to get out there and to put yourselves on the line, you know, that's something that people don't pay attention to, right? Always. Is that, okay, you might not like this fighter, you might not like that fighter, but I say this all the time. You know, the worst quarterback in the NFL is better than 99.9% of the people that talk about how bad of a quarterback that quarterback is. So, you know, and I think people need to remember that, right? Because Mike didn't have, for as many people as know Mike Tyson, not every one of his fights was a great fight for Mike. Right? Evander Holyfield, same thing. You know, everybody endures wins and losses. And, you know, Alicia Ashley, who got inducted and said, you know, my record may not show my story, you know, truly the way that it should. And if somebody just looks at my record and they don't know my story. So I appreciated that Ron Borges said that, because it is true. You know, we can't simply look at the win-loss record. We can't simply look at that individual fight or that individual game or that individual match or that individual broadcast or that individual article, because, you know, there are moments of ups and downs and there are moments of strife, and you never know what somebody's going through off the air, out of the ring, and so on and so forth. And so we have to be cognizant of the fact that these are human beings. And to go off of that, him saying, you know, to see some of these fighters and to see their bodies, and, you know, I saw that from a few people out there where, you know, it just looks like it's tough. It's tough for them to walk and get around, and, you know, they gave so much, win or lose, they gave so much to the ring, so much to the sport, so much to their fans, so much to their family, so much of themselves, that to say, oh, they're not a good boxer, I didn't like watching, or this or that, you know, you might have a preference of one boxer over the other, but respect the fact that, you know, these people put their bodies on the lines, and their bodies will never be the same because of the blows that they took and what they faced. And I think it's important to remember that and respect that. I do. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back to hear my conversation with John Iceman Scully, who is not only a former boxer, but is the trainer for Clay Waterman, who made his American debut over this weekend at the Friday Night Fights on Showtime. So American debut, also his first Showtime boxing match, and a victory in his first ever American debut. So an American debut that happened to be on Showtime that also happened to be a win. So he wins his American debut, and he does it on Showtime to the world. We'll talk about Clay Waterman, and more with John Iceman Scully right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from our one-on-one conversation you won't find anywhere else that happened during the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and definitely appreciate being here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And a good morning to my mom. A lot of great stuff that has come up here over International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. And I promised you that next up here inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', as we talk about the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend and my coverage of the many events that were there at Turning Stone Resort and Casino, as well as the International Boxing Hall of Fame in general and its pavilion. I had the opportunity to catch up with John Iceman Scully, a former boxer who has continued to pay it forward as a trainer, and he just so happens to be working with Clay Waterman. Clay Waterman coming to us from Australia and made his American debut on Showtime Boxing and got a victory. And this is what Iceman had to say about all that. Dan Tortora here of Wake Up Call with John Iceman Scully here at the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. How you doing, John?
Having a great time.
So you and I we're talking a little bit off the air here, just what it means to you to come back to events like this and be able to, you know, reminisce with people and cross paths with some guys.
I mean, it's I love it just because I know I'm going to see friends of mine from the game, guys I grew up with in the amateurs, and I'm also going to see champions that I never met, and it's going to be incredible. And even a couple nights ago at the weigh-in for the fights, a guy was there in the audience, and he came up to me, he had his son with him, and he said, in 1998 in Ottawa, Canada, you were in a mall sparring with Otis Grant, and I was a kid, and I asked you for an autograph, and he said, you told me, nah, you don't want a piece of paper. I'll give me your address and I'll mail you something. And I said, did I mail it to you? He goes, yeah, you mailed it. That's all good. And so it was cool. I hung out with him at the fights, after the fights for like half hour. So stuff like that. It's a really cool event. The vibe is really cool.
And you talk about the fights. Your boxer, Clay Waterman from Australia, had his American debut.
Yeah.
He won, and he was on Showtime.
Right.
Just what that experience was like for you to, you know, have him right there next to you and to be connected to him, especially in such a momentous moment to get his first win when it came to the first American debut win.
Right. Well, yeah, that was the thing. I kept telling him before the fight, I'm like, this has been your dream. Like, since you were an amateur, this is your dream. I go, it's here right now. You have to produce right now. You're going to make history for yourself. And there's only one American debut. You only get to do it one time.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was on that theme in the corner and everything. And he responded well, and I thought he put on a really good performance.
To have him on Showtime, so not only his American debut and not only a victory, but to do it on Showtime and to have the world get to see that.
Yeah.
Just what you thought that experience was like for not just Clay, but for your team as a whole.
It's huge because, you know, boxing is a funny game. Like, you know, you have a lot of good fighters, but if they don't get the opportunity to be on TV and then shine on TV, well, they're going to still be anonymous. And, you know, when I met Clay a few months ago, he was in camp with Beterbiev, and I started talking to him, and I said, you know, maybe I can help you. And I hooked him up with Dimitri Salita, who was the promoter of the show, and he literally, in one night, changed his whole life. He changed his whole career. Like, he was I'd never heard of Clay until I met him in the training camp. And I asked him, I said, man, how come you're a good fighter? Like, how come I've never heard of you? He said, well, you know, I don't really have a promoter. And I said, let me talk to some people. And I called Dimitri. I knew Dimitri since he was a kid. And Dimitri liked what he saw on tape. He put him on. And now, I mean, Clay's a lot more well-known today than he was 2 days ago.
And what can you say about what a victory on Showtime can do for his career now?
Oh, it's incredible. You know, everybody's watching. Plus Hall of Fame weekend. you know, you had all the fighters were there, you know, the big stars are there. Ray Mercer was there. Ray Mercer actually came up to him after the fight in the dressing room and gave him words of encouragement, and you know, so Clay was in awe of that. No, it's you know, you need the opportunity. It's not just a fight; it's where the fight is. It's who's there, who's watching. You know, and we had a lot of heavy hitters in the audience, promoters, managers, TV executives. So his night couldn't have went any better.
So that coming as a piece of this, saying Clay Waterman's night couldn't have went any better. I mean, and this shows you how quickly things can change for you, not just in the boxing world, but in life in general, how fast things can change and how, what do they say? Be ready so you don't have to get ready. And Clay Waterman was ready. And what he was able to do in front of boxing Hall of Famers, people who know the ring, trainers, managers, you know, TV execs and promoters and whatnot, Clay put himself in a fantastic position. God bless me. And, you know, God bless him. So, you know, he's in a unique, God bless me again. Great to sneeze on the, you know, the funny thing, and I mention this all the time, is that I did not sneeze on the air more than like 3 or 4 times a year. Maybe. And now I just sneezed twice in like 10 seconds on the air. But it's like my allergies have gotten so much worse, and this weather going up and down and changing. I'm trying to get my allergies under control, and I think certain things that I've done have worked. But if anybody has any allergy remedies, send them over to me, because I would love to hear them, especially if it's like natural, because I'm not a pill popping person. I'm somebody that likes to find like a natural remedy if I can find one. So let me know what you got. You know, I know some people say honey, and sometimes it works for me and sometimes it doesn't, but man, I apologize for the sneezes, but it's an excuse to say God bless me and God bless you, and God bless Clay. I mean, for goodness sakes, what he was able to do for his career could pay off. Like what we saw in his fight on Showtime this past Friday at Turning Stone could be the beginning of an illustrious career if he does things right, and I hope that he does. So much respect and much love and positivity being sent your way, Clay Waterman. Also to Keeman Evans on the other side of it. I got to talk with Keeman after the fact. Keeman was on my show. Christy Martin obviously has promoted him, so to be able to speak with Keeman Evans means a lot to me as well. And as I told him, adversity molds us into the people that we become. So to remember that. And PB&J said, speaking on Clay Waterman, he stayed busy and was the aggressor. It was a great fight for him. Yeah, I mean, he did stay busy. And honestly, I got to a point where I said, there's no way that Clay's going to lose this fight, because he had done so much, so consistently throughout each of the rounds of the fight. He got good shots in. And I think that he was pulling a little bit. I think his punches could have been even more so. And I think he kind of knew, like, I got him. I don't need to do anything crazy. I don't need to kill myself over this. And he took care of business. So, you know, Clay definitely had a great fight. And it was great to see. And like I said, I saw the other side of it. I sat down with Keeman after and I talked to him, and I said, listen, adversity molds us into the people that we choose to become. And so this is a moment where you get to choose who you want to be. You get to choose how adversity affects you. Do you let it mold you into a positive version of who you want to be? Do you let it work toward your future, or do you stay locked in the past? You know, you have a choice of if adversity is going to make you into something better. And he really appreciated my words, gave me a bunch of hugs, shook my hand, took some pictures together. And, you know, I got to be around people that matter to him as well. And they heard it. You know, they heard what I had to say about adversity and how, you know, those moments in our lives are hard, but they can also turn out being truly special if we let them be. And it's all up to us, right? Because good things happen and not so great things happen. And I mean, every person, no matter who you are, no matter how great your life is, how much money you have, if you got a house on the hill or a house in the ghetto, no matter where you are, good things happen and not so great things happen. And it's how you respond to both. When great things happen, how do you respond to it? Do you have an ego? Do you think about me? Or are you humble and still appreciative? When something not so great happens, are you blaming everybody else but yourself? Are you sitting, feeling sorry for yourself and being a sloth and just kind of laying on that couch and just saying, oh, woe is me? Or are you using that moment to mold you into the person that you want to become? So, those words that I shared with Kimon, very much in the moment, not pre-planned, was something that I just felt like I had to do. I shook his hand and I spoke with him, and I just felt like I needed to say something. I'm happy that I said something, and I really hope that he takes this and makes it into something special, and I hope that his career from here only looks up. And for Clay Waterman, I hope the same as well. I hope both of these fighters, we're talking about a few months from now, a half a year from now, a year from now, that we're talking about great memories with both of these gentlemen, because that's all I want to see. I only want people to succeed, and I hope that they do. So that brings me into the last day. The last day was the actual induction. I told you at the beginning of the show, I gave you biographies, which I want to thank the International Boxing Hall of Fame for providing, that give you a synopsis of each of these fighters, a little, nice story of who they are, each of the fighters, each of the trainers, each of the promoters and matchmakers and so on and so forth, and broadcasters that were inducted this year. Of the 13 members, 3 of them who have passed on, and God bless them in heaven, and the other 10, 9 of them were on site. One of them sent in a video in Laura Serrano from Mexico City, Mexico. So to experience the induction yesterday, that was in a different room. That was in the showroom at Turning Stone Resort and Casino. More intimate, more connected, and kind of a dimly lit, very, very much like going to see a theater performance type of thing. And I thought that was fun as well. I mean, I love the speeches. You could see a bunch of the speeches that I aired on my social media. So you can go to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Facebook at WakeUpCall, that's on your screen. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. You can see a portion of the speech by Timothy Bradley Jr. You can also see Carl Froch's speech, a portion of that. I took clips from what I had recorded, Alicia Ashley's speech as well. And you could see a portion of the speech by Tim Ryan that I aired. You could see Joe Gooson's speech, Brad Jacobs' speech, and Brad Goodman's speech as well. I don't have every single one of them, but those are the ones that I have to share with you, and hopefully we'll be able to do some more things in the future with these inductees. And then there's a video for the special attendees of the boxing world that were at the 2023 International Boxing Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But I thought it was fun. Like I said, it was more like a theater, intimate showcase there. And I thought that, the venue was special, because at the end I got to speak with Joe Gooson and Timothy Bradley Jr. So it was nice to be able to have those interactions as they were coming off. And Carl Froch, I got to talk with him as well after the event. So I thought the event itself was nice, because it was more about the boxer, which it should be, or the promoter, or the matchmaker, or the broadcaster, whoever was up there at the podium. And it was more for them to say what they wanted to say. Some of them had long speeches, some of them had shorter speeches, but they all got to say what they wanted to say uninterrupted. And I thought that was really cool, that nobody had music playing them off the stage like the idiot shows that we see there. And I'm not going to name names of the shows, but there's shows where people are trying to speak their mind, and might be the only time they're ever going to be up on a stage, and they fought so hard to get there, and they're getting played off the stage. Well, the International Boxing Hall of Fame didn't play anybody off the stage, and I thought that was wonderful, that everyone got to say their message the way that they wanted to say it, what they wanted to say, how they wanted to do it. and that was great. And then afterwards, Seven Kitchens, I got to shout them out. That buffet is amazing. I went downstairs. Now that buffet's been different names and it's had different looks, but it's still the same. Like the actual buffet itself still looks similar, and even though the color scheme changes, the room still looks the same. There's mirrors in there now. But Seven Kitchens, going down there and looking at their food, they had like a spicy salmon. They had all of this Asian inspired, food that was really, really good. They had nice pizza, garlic broccoli pizza that kind of tasted like a stuffed broccoli pizza. That was good pizza. And what else did they have? They had meatballs that I liked. The desserts, oh my gosh, there was like 20 different desserts, if not more. They had turkey. They had mac and cheese. They had shrimp. I mean, I remember going down and getting my first plate and saying to myself, I got some shrimp first and foremost, because I always know that they have shrimp. So I got the shrimp. And then I'm looking at everything. I went to like the right side of the buffet and I was working left. I didn't even get to half of it. And I was like, oh my good Lord, like just the seafood section. I wanted everything there. I had the crawfish was really good. Haven't had crawfish in a while. Those crawfish were good. Bent them the right way. Pull the tail meat right out. Very tender. Awesome flavor. I mean, shout out to Seven Kitchens, because afterward, where we all got to break bread together, shout out Pat Orr, what up? And the salad was good too. My salad was awesome. Cheese was exquisite. But I like my salad, little bit of dressing, not a lot of dressing, egg, carrots, obviously lettuce, and some cheese there, and so not a crazy salad of a million different concoctions, but that was probably, if not the best flavor, one of the best flavors. And then for dessert, I had some different berry things because I love raspberry and strawberry, blueberry, all that. So that was good. But I mean, Seven Kitchens, the food was excellent. I wanted to go out and gamble a little bit. Those of you that know me know that I don't gamble a lot. There's times where I won't, I won't be at a table or at a slot machine for years. So I did want to do it, but I had been there for many hours, and I have my dog Lily, who's my little daughter. I had to get home to her. So, I'd spent enough time away over this weekend. I didn't want to spend any more time away from her. But I will say, Turning Stone, you make it very difficult to not want to eat there and bet there, which I know you know that, which is why you're so successful. And to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, to Ed Brophy, to Jeff Brophy, to everyone there, to Tito, to the entire team at the International Boxing Hall of Fame, I want to say thank you. To the inductees, especially the ones I got to meet, and to get to spend some time with Ann Wolfe afterwards, I want to say thank you to all the boxers, promoters, matchmakers, broadcasters, everybody, coaches, everybody that was there. So I want to thank them. I want to personally thank Ron Borges for taking some time, John Iceman Scully. I want to thank Flavor Flav for coming out. I want to thank everyone that helped to put on these events. I want to thank Turning Stone, and just, I mean, everyone working behind the scenes in production, the, photography work from, Pat and her team, and just everybody. I mean, honestly, I believe it's Greg, so I want to thank him as well. But, to everybody that was there to be a part of the event, for the fact that the media, as far as I'm concerned, I got free roaming opportunity to go out and talk to the people that I wanted to talk to, reach out to people and build my network and connections. And they allowed us to be free. They allowed us to talk with people and be around people. And there was nobody going, hey, Dan, blah, blah, blah. So I do appreciate the fact that they trust the media, and they let me go out and do the things that I wanted to do. And, I got to have my own personal experience. So I want to thank the Hall for that. I want to thank Turning Stone for that. I want to thank everybody in front of the scenes and behind the scenes. Like I was saying, just a wonderful, wonderful time. And, I honestly, it's a unique experience of my 19 plus years of broadcasting and journalism and all of that. So I can say without a doubt that the Friday night fights and Showtime boxing and doing some interviews and being at Turning Stone and the Banquet of Champions and the food there and the experience and the hospitality of Tito. I got to personally thank him a million times over, times a million. And the induction ceremony, everything was great. You know, I appreciate my weekends, especially May, June, and July. I look forward to my weekends. And I spent most of my weekend traveling back and forth on the thruway to these events Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I regret none of it. I'm sad that I can't go back there today and do more stuff. So I look forward to what's to come. I look forward to hopefully some interviews that we're going to be having with some people that I made connections with. And, you know, I just really honestly loved the event. I loved my time. And I feel very grateful this morning. It was rewarding. And I feel very accomplished in the things that I got to do. So thank you to everybody that made that possible. And thank you to God more than anything for always just blessing me upon blessing. I thank God for every blessing that I have and every moment. You always come through, and thank you for that. And please come through for all of us, especially those that really, really, really need a miracle right now. And, you know, we're all fighting something, either in a ring or out of a ring. And it could be big and it could be small, but those going through it, it's probably big no matter what it is. And I want to tell everybody, whatever you're fighting, if you believe in God and you pray and you truly trust that God has your back and you have that faith and you surround yourself with good people and you do the best you can, I promise you things are going to be okay. I promise you that things are going to be okay. If you have God, if you have yourself and control of yourself, and you have, you know, you appreciate the support and the love that surrounds you, God always comes through. Always comes through. 37 years of my life, God has always come through. May not have answered every prayer the way that I wanted God to answer the prayer, but God has always come through. And this weekend, I mean, this is a new experience for me. I didn't know how to go about certain things, and God just helped me feel totally seamless and good and more comfortable as time went on. And I love you for that, God. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside and we'll be back to wrap things up right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family friendly. Some family friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I want to thank you for tuning in every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, both / WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, which you could find that feed embedded into the WakeUpCallDT.com homepage. So if you go to WakeUpCallDT.com, right on the homepage, the Wake Up Call feed for our internet streaming radio, which is on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. You'll find that there. So go to WakeUpCallDT.com, very easy to do, on any device, and once you're there, just scroll down and you'll see the Podbean feed, and you could just click play and it'll say that it's live, and so you could tune in there from anywhere in the world. Once the shows go live, they jump into the archives. You could find archives on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, and more, including Podchaser and Boomplay. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on your favorite podcasting platform, and make sure to click follow and to download our episodes for free. I want to thank all of our incredible partners, Carvel DeWitt, where I have my very own Sunday, which is directly connected to the Lemoyne Dolphins. When you walk into Carvel DeWitt, you'll see the DT Dolphin on your right. The DT Dolphin is a mint chocolate chip. Awesome. So good, because it's like the mint ice cream, which is green for the Dolphins, but the chocolate chips are fresh and they're inside there, and you get more than your typical mint chocolate chip when you scoop it up. So mint chocolate chip with hot fudge, whipped cream, cherry, as well as green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream every time you order the DT Dolphin, in connection with the Lemoyne College Dolphins that are right down the road from Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like. The Wildcat Sports Pub, Mother's Cupboard, the home of my sandwich. You'll find my breakfast sandwich only at Mother's Cupboard, 7 days a week, from 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You'll find the Cuse McMother bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. You can cut it up and eat it with syrup, or pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. It is available to you every day, and you can walk in and see that sign right over the grill itself for the Cuse McMother. Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Great Lakes Honda City, Chick-fil-A Watertown, 317 at Montgomery Street. The name of the location is the name of the restaurant, 317 at Montgomery Street. You can go there, and of course, Downtown with Dan airs every single month. Downtown with Dan episodes are available on youtube.com / WakeUpCallDT. And it's our taste test of the menu that is ever evolving at 317 at Montgomery Street. So not only do you get to experience owner Joel Carpenter and I speaking on a bunch of different things, including pop culture, entertainment, and sports, but you also get to see me taste test the food and describe it before you come in. And you definitely know that when those Downtown with Dan episodes come out, they are time sensitive because the menu does change. So when I tell you to go out and grab something, you got to go out that week and get yourself some 317 at Montgomery Street in downtown Syracuse. PB&J's Lunchbox, as well as Avicoli's, Ma & Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call, AD and DT, airing the first and third Wednesday of each month with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT. And every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into the stories of student athletes as well as coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. The Dolphin Dive, second and fourth Wednesday. We underpromise and overdeliver. You've been getting a ton of Dolphin Dives. And with Bob Beretta out of town, we're going to continue those Dolphin Dives this week with some really amazing specials coming up for you. You can find all of our Dolphin content by clicking on the Lemoyne tab on WakeUpCallDT.com and by subscribing to YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. For more information on your Dolphins, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And as always, fins way up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. We have the opportunity to share the incredible stories of the Bobcats by being with us every single month. You can find out on social media when our next special is going to come up with the Bobcats. We have shared stories from student athletes, coaches, and administration. Of course, national champions in men's and women's soccer, national tournament qualifiers in men's and women's basketball, the inaugural season and history being made for the baseball team, and esports will be coming up as well. You don't want to miss a minute of our Bobcat Buzz specials. You can find our entire library by going to the BSC Syracuse tab on WakeUpCallDT.com, bookmarking it, subscribing it, and saving it so you'll never miss a part of our library specials with the Bobcats again. And of course, you can subscribe to YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT and search Bobcat Buzz. For more information on your Bobcats, go to Syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcats. We appreciate the Bobcat Nation very much. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, once again, find us 24/7 on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. For Mon Paz Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, bringing you my experience of the Hall of Fame weekend. A big thanks to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, to Turning Stone Resort and Casino, to all of the boxers, entertainers, trainers, coaches, broadcasters, matchmakers, and the like that were inducted, to all of the boxing world that came to the event and all of the wonderful faces I got to see, to the people that I have built good relationships with and am building good bridges with as well. A big shout out to Tito again, to Pat, to Lisa, to Christy, and of course to all of you for joining me here. Find all of my coverage on our social media, as well as within this show. You got to see a ton of it in one concise place. So share this broadcast with your family, friends, coworkers, colleagues, and neighbors. I'll talk with you all soon, including you, Tito. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Have a great day, folks. And remember, no matter what fight you're in, inside or outside of the ring, if you have God, love, and respect for yourself, and you surround yourself with good people, not yes men or yes women, but people that will be honest with you, constructive, and always look out for your best interest. God, you, and the bonus of surrounding yourself with good people will put you in a place where any fight, no matter how big it is, you'll be able to get through with a smile on your face. Because when you're surrounded by love and you love yourself, you can never fail. I love you all. Have a great day. Take care.